Yes, I know, another clone in an armchair or on a settee, a sofa, but look, he's wearing a suit. That must mean he's a skeptic clone. Oh my god, twice! He's a bearing clone for having a chair and a skeptic clone for being in a suit. Hi, I'm Omegon. I'll be filling in for SugarTits as she has things removed from her mouth and then her mouth summarily stuffed with cotton balls because she's having her wisdom teeth out. Maybe dick later, but anyway, it doesn't matter. She's asked me to fill in for her while she has her wisdom teeth removed, and I thought what better way to do that than to talk about misogyny. More importantly, this article with some indicators of misogyny, because I'm a big misogynist, a hateful bigot, a cunt. Let's get into this. 7 signs you're dating a misogynist and need to get out. You can really tell this article's demographic is very small. The strong, independent woman, or the wannabe strong, independent woman who needs an article to tell them that once they've pointed out the misogyny, they should look for an exit. How very feminist. When it comes to matters of the heart, the unfortunate truth is that love can do more than just blind you. It doesn't matter if you're a staunch feminist or not. You could be completely unaware of the signs you're dating a misogynist. Something I want to point out early on. This article seems to be labouring under the assumption that all relationships should be the same, all the dynamics and all the interactions, behavioural patterns should be the same. Yes, there are a lot of relationships, undoubtedly, that are going to be with partners that are misogynists. They're all James Bond deep down in their minds. But some people aren't looking for certain relationships to be the same as everyone else. They all think they're unique, they're different. I just wanted to point this out. I'm not entirely sure why. Whether you've had a few bad experiences before or this is the first time something has felt a bit off to you, there's no shame in wondering if your relationship is actually toxic. While this article is targeted towards women and dating misogynists and pointing out those that are dating misogynist men, that particular quote can easily be used for those dating women that are misandrist. Even if you've always prided yourself on your excellent rude boy radar, you can still be misled in surprisingly subtle ways. Isn't it a bit of a cliche that good girls seem to want to date bad guys because they want to fix the bad guy up? Now, as dynamics have shifted and obviously society has progressed, there are less and less of this cliche bad boy. They just form in different ways in different areas of society. They still exist, but they're not indicative of a wider trend, unless you want to prove that. If you're not too sure what a misogynist actually is, there's no need to worry. As philosopher Professor Dr. Berit Brogard told Psychology Today, misogyny involves hatred towards women, or a type of woman for a particular reason. One of my main issues with the word misogyny in our current year is that the word now means bad across the board, as in, even if there is a legitimate reason, it is still bad to be a misogynist. In certain instances, certain circumstances, I think there is a legitimate reason to be permitted to hate someone. If you hate an entire gender because of one person, you're a fucking idiot. But that's not the same as hating one person for one thing they did that directly affected you. I'm not a big fan of labels, so I guess for me it's a case of circumstance. You may be able to spot blatant and offensive sexism from a mile away, but that isn't always the case when it comes to misogyny. I learned the hard way that a person doesn't have to be anti-woman to be a misogynist. This not needing to be an anti-woman prerequisite is a very nice way of saying that basically, under most circumstances, a man is being a misogynist. Through some form of benevolent sexism, no doubt, but a misogynist nonetheless. So if you're concerned that you might be in an unhealthy relationship, then check out these signs you're dating a misogynist. And here comes the fun part of this entire article. Thank you, Romper. 1. They're charming in the beginning. If you think that all misogynists are angry and brooding, you'd be wrong. As Dr. Brogard told Psychology Today, a misogynist might hope that a woman's natural defenses may be down because he's flirtatious, exciting, and charismatic at first. So that fun, charming exterior could be an act. And short of a 72-hour psychological evaluation, I'm uncertain as to how you're best to ascertain whether a man is genuine or a fake, i.e. misogynist. And isn't everyone charming in the beginning? Until they get so bored of you they spend most of their time fishing, hunting, wrestling other dudes, bullying other women to make them sandwiches. 2. They're vocally pro-woman. I think this one is for the male feminist dudes. The male feminist allies, because men cannot be feminists. Or can they? Apparently they can and can't. It's like Schrodinger's cat, but, well, feminist. Again, it's a misconception that misogyny takes the form of being aggressively anti-woman all the time. In fact, according to a study published in Psychology of Women Quarterly, psychologists Dr. Janet Swim and Dr. Julia Becker found that misogynistic actions are dismissed when the results are positive. For instance, you may think it's sweet when your partner insists on paying for dinner, but if their motivation for doing so is because they think women should let men be in charge of financial decisions, then that seemingly polite act suddenly becomes misogynistic. This particular segment does three things for me. One, it tells me that what Anita Sarkeesian said, where everything is sexist and it has to be pointed out, is in fact true. It also confirms my earlier remarks that basically men, even positively, even nicely, are basically misogynist anyway. And third, the particular anecdote or setup you use to describe a type of misogyny with dinner, I have to ask, how on earth do you ascertain what the man's intentions are when he pays for dinner or offers to pay for dinner? Are you now going to suggest that girls do that when they date a guy? They have to ask if the man's intention is to do it because the man on a date wants to take control of financial situations? 3. Their word choice is disarming. With this particular example, there are a couple of ways you can look at it. For example, if you're dating someone and they diffuse you, it could depend on the circumstance that led to them to diffuse you in the first place. For example, if you're angry, they're going to look to diffuse you, try and calm you down. They're not going to now say, "Oh, you're being sensitive, you can't, now calm the fuck down." No. They're going to try and use language in a way that works for you to get you down from that moment. The other would be the example you're going to give, which I'm now going to read. It seems that one thing is becoming clear. The worst misogynists act are nicest. The reason they're being nice is because it's an evil plan by the patriarchy to put women back in the kitchen. It's the whole plan. We men are done being mean to you. We just want to put you back where you belong in your office so you make us sandwiches. And on that note... Yeah, that's right. I will literally insert a sandwich video into any video. And this one was presented by YourBoyPat. I will link his channel below along with my own if SugarTits lets me. Where were we? Point 4. Yes, point 4. Let's do that. 4. Their mood is erratic. Would you look at that? We have a nice little double standard. It's okay to call men out for having emotional instability. But when women do it, no. Never. The most toxic relationships seem truly wonderful in the beginning. As Brogard told Psychology Today, once you have invested in a relationship with them, a misogynist will have drastic mood changes, going from charismatic and kind to irritable and angry in a second. So be careful if it seems like your partner is playing the role of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I love the amount of thought that's going into this clinging to emotional instability mentality. I find it also fascinating that we hear feminists regularly spew, we want men to be more in touch with their emotions, but now you're talking about emotions and the mood swings that are a consequence of being more in tune with your emotions, and you now want to walk away from that? What a shocker. Women don't like betas. Who knew? 5. Their views on gender are absolute. There are only 2. Does your significant other see things in only black and white? According to American Psychology Association, misogynists hold extreme opinions about men and women. I think as gender is becoming more and more of a hot topic to be discussed openly and on social media, along with mainstream media abusing the fuck out of it, it is safe to say that there are many extreme views on gender, quite a lot of it assertions certainly within the mainstream media as mentioned earlier, but also intentionally misleading to create prejudice between the two genders. For example, a typical misogynist believes men should be hypermasculine and women should be submissive and delicate. So a bold woman or a sensitive man would likely cause a misogynist to verbally or physically lash out. Based on everything we have read so far in this article, if you replace the word misogynist in this particular segment with misandrist, you'd have the same bloody thing. 6. They don't value your time. Because misogynists at a foundational level hold men in higher regard than women, their action will follow suit. I can't be bothered to read the rest of this point, but I will go to number 7 in a moment. The very fact that they don't value your time is a point to begin with shows you how close they are to clutching at straws. There are no legitimate points that don't seem to contradict themselves. 1 minute talking about hypermasculinity, but then talking about oversensitive guys. All guys are bad. Clearly, the only way forward is to go back to the 70s or 60s when feminists were trying to get other women to turn lesbian because that's the only way to be a true feminist, although if you want to go by the HuffPost, the only true feminists are actually Muslim women. I just want to put it out there, that is in fact an article. 7. They're always performing. But isn't love one big performance? Gay. You know how some people are just always on, no matter what? As it turns out, they need to maintain a certain appearance or reputation is quite common amongst misogynists. The whole concept for maintaining appearances isn't exclusive to these already mentioned men, or as you're just going to call them, misogynists, which should just be the gender name from now on. All men are misogynists. To you, that's true. So why not just call men misogynists? We can't fix it, obviously, without eradicating men, and that's not going to happen. Now back to what I earlier said, maintaining appearances or keeping up appearances is not exclusive to misogynists because everyone does it in aspects of their lives, whether it be professional or at the home. We do it because we want to be seen a certain way by other people. Everyone shows off. It's all, as you said, a performance, and everyone does it. Everyone loves a good encore, after all. According to the APA, desire to win, need for emotional control, and pursuit of status are misogynistic traits. If losing, appearing vulnerable, or in some way inferior sets off World War III in your relationship, you could be dating a misogynist. Or you could be dating somebody with a competitive edge and the desire to win. Someone who likes to win, someone who likes to be the best, the very best, like no one ever was, is an ideal partner because there's somebody who will keep trying to be better, they'll keep trying to improve. Now, as I've concluded this article, I just want to say a few final words. Thank you very much to SugarTits for letting me put this video up on your channel. I hope I haven't offended too many of your subscribers. And when you've gotten all that stuff out of your mouth, all that white stuff out of your mouth, I would very much appreciate it if you'd take yourself into your kitchen and make me a sandwich. Consider it a payment. Thank you all for listening.